Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're jumping right into really a foundational fight for the future of AI.
Yeah, we're talking about the GPU war, specifically NVIDIA's CUDA versus AMD's ROCm.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, hardware specs. It's about the software. Who builds the better software moat?
That's the core of it. I mean,
Yeah.
AMD's appeal seems obvious, right? Cheaper cards, open source
That's
platform.
a good on paper.
But NVIDIA's CUDA still holds, what, like 90% of the market? It's dominant.
So our mission really for this deep dive is to look at the sources, dig in, and find the brutal truth. Why hasn't ROCm, the open source option, made more of a dent?
Okay, let's start at the beginning. CUDA's head start is significant.
Right, launched way back in 2007. That's ancient history in tech.
It really is. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just like a driver. It was the whole package.
Yeah.
The SDK, compilers, libraries, everything.
Turning gaming GPUs into AI monsters, and crucially proprietary, locked into NVIDIA's world.
Yep. And then AMD. ROCm didn't show up until 2016.
9 years later, that gap is massive.
It gave NVIDIA an incredible lead to just mature everything. So ROCm arrives, it's AMD's answer, it's open source, designed to break that lock-in.
And that open source part, that's ROCm's one big win, isn't it?
Theoretically, yes.
Yes.
Huge potential, no licensing fees, you can get under the hood, customize it.
And the AMD GPUs themselves are often, cheaper for similar raw compute power.
Definitely. Some sources point out for, say, specific scientific stuff where you need deep kernel optimization, that open control is actually invaluable.
But there's a catch, right? Saving money only works if you can actually get ROCm working.
And that's where the brutal truth starts to come in. Performance.
Okay.
In the real world, CUDA still pretty much destroys ROCm on performance for most standard AI tasks.
Why, though? Is it just that 17 years of refinement, billions in R&D?
It's largely that, yeah. Think about translating Python code from PyTorch down to the metal, the GPU assembly, PTX for
Wow.
NVIDIA. CUDA's compiler is just incredibly good at that. It's been perfected over almost 2 decades. ROCm is still playing catch-up on that optimization front.
And then there's stability. This seems like the real killer app for CDA.
Absolutely. It's the business reality. CUDA just works. You install it, you run your code, it's done.
Simple, predictable.
ROCm, well, the experience is often more like debugging. You're finding the driver, maybe the OS, the application itself. It requires patience, a lot of patience.
Like building complex Lego, but the instructions are missing and some bricks are slightly off.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually.
All right.
And it leads to real problems. We saw tests recently, right? AMD's top chip, the MI300X.
Yeah, the big one meant for data centers, taking on NVIDIA head-to-head.
Exactly. Couldn't even run some basic transformer models right out of the box.
Wait, seriously, multi-$1,000 hardware, useless because the software wasn't ready.
That's what the tests showed. Software dependency issues, things like that. It highlights the maturity gap.
Wow. So when reliability is paramount for businesses or big research projects,
The choice becomes obvious, doesn't it? Software maturity is probably the single biggest factor.
which brings us to the ecosystem. CADs doesn't just work well, it owns the ecosystem.
Completely. PyTorch, TensorFlow, all the major frameworks, they run perfectly on CUDA. It's the default.
And there are millions of developers who know it. Tons of documentation, forums, community support.
Endless resources.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ROCm technically supports those frameworks too,
Technically.
but the integration is just rougher.
It's-
Less documentation, fewer people who've run into your specific problem online. It's harder.
And NVIDIA layers on top of that with hardware integration, right? Like tensor cores.
Exactly. Specialized silicon just for matrix math, the core of AI. That gives them an architectural edge that ROCm running on more general compute units struggles to match.
Plus things like NVLink for connecting multiple GPUs seamlessly. It's a whole integrated package.
Hardware and software working together, very tightly controlled.
Okay, so let's synthesize this. What does this mean for you, the listener?
Well, if you're a professional, a business, building commercial AI, CUDA is the easy choice. Almost a no-brainer.
Reliability, performance, ecosystem support, it's all there.
But if you're maybe an advanced researcher, someone who needs that open source control, maybe for cost reasons or customization,
And crucially, you have the expertise and the time to wrestle with it.
the ROCm does offer potential. Definitely cost savings are possible, but you have to go in expecting, well, pain. Be prepared to debug.
Right, expect pain. That's a stark way to put it.
It reflects the current reality, unfortunately.
So the final takeaway here, CUDA is king. And honestly, it doesn't seem close right now.
The CUDA moat is very, very real, built over 17 years of software development.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. What would it actually take? What kind of
Yeah.
massive stumble from NVIDIA, or maybe some huge shift in how we do computing, would allow AMD's open approach to finally overcome that compiler advantage and truly challenge CUDA's dominance?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? What disrupts this kind of entrenched ecosystem?